Om Sri Sai Ram. First and foremost, my most loving pranams to our beloved Bhagwan, residing in and operating through each one of you. I can begin today's topic by giving his secret, which he himself has revealed to all of us. The purpose of this creation, and then our role play and our reality in this. Swami had declared long back that I separated myself from myself to love myself, because as he himself has declared, I was alone. There was no one to love me, to know me. With one word, the entire universe was created. The rivers started flowing, the mountains rose, and the entire creation came into existence with my one word. And I put my knowledge in mind of man. That is a spiritual angle. We often know that God resides in each one of us, and our modern education has programmed our minds in such a way that we identify ourselves with this body-mind complex, and most of us actually believe that there is some God, some power residing within us. So we have been programmed in such a fashion for long, many centuries, that we are this body and mind complex, and some spiritual power, call it God, call it soul, super soul, by any name. That privilege also we have taken from the highest authority, and we name it as it suits us, our culture, our religion, our bringing up. But the truth is, we all are equally and essentially divine. We all are spiritual beings, equally and essentially divine beings, having been gifted with this human body, this human mind, this human emotions, human intelligence, to perform our role play assigned to us by our own highest, truest, and noblest self. God is not as an outside entity. Swami has said, God is neither distinct nor distant from you. Swami in Satya Sai Baba is our highest, truest self, manifested to teach us, to bring us, to make us aware of our own reality. The avatar comes with divine mission, divine purpose. Every avatar. Avatarana is coming down. Actually, Swami declared once that we all are incarnations. We all have come down from our different respective stages of our evolution to perform our role play. But our reality is that, as Swami himself, this is the only avatar in the entire human history, recorded or even unrecorded, who addresses right from day one to all of us as Divya Atma Swarupkara. His opening declaration, opening statements reveals the truth to us about our own identity, that we all are Divya Atma Swarupkara, Prem Atma Swaruparas. And he is the only authority who can declare like this. No lesser authority can do it, and no avatar has done this before. This is the only avatar. Again, the uniqueness of this avatar is, this is the only avatar in entire human history Again, I repeat, recorded or even unrecorded, even in our mythological books of any religion, of any culture, who has established at his physical plane, one to one, heart to heart, love to love relationship with millions and millions of his devotees and even non devotees. He has appeared to many who did not even know him. And not only in India, in far off, everything is recorded in Satam Shivam Sundaram and his own writings. In Sanatan Sarthi, we can find it. No avatar has done this before. Walking amongst the masses, taking letters from billions, giving Padnamaskars, interviews, naming or performing marriages. Nobody has done. Individually, on one-to-one basis, heart-to-heart, love-to-love relationship. He came in my life as my Guru Vivekananda in 1971, 50 years, on my birthday, my 18th birthday, when a friend gifted me with a book of Swami Vivekananda, volume 2, I believe. The opening quotation which I read, we were from film industry, having our theaters in district Thane, Mumbai. For us to have parties, dancing, drinking with film stars and all was a routine thing. We never felt anything bad about it. It was a normal bringing up of our family. So this friend of mine, who was probably not from very rich background, but nevertheless a very loving friend, he gifted me with this book. And after everything was over, I went to my bedroom, and as I opened the wrapper of this book, the opening sentence was, "My dears, I love each one of you more than myself. But I want each one of you to be ready to die for others." This opening sentence of Swami Vivekananda set my entire being on fire. I could not even read any further. I could not even hold the book in my hands. I was as if charged by his presence. I kept the book under my pillow and tried to forget about it. Next, in 1972, my beloved grandfather, who used to read Bhagavad Gita one chapter every day he used to read for himself loudly in Sindhi language. But we children used to gather around him, not for Bhagavad Gita, not for Krishna or Arjuna dialogue. We never understood anything. But for the prasad he used to give after reading the story, the Mahatam after every chapter. So 72, when he expired, I was now in the hostel in my engineering college, SPC, Bhavan's campus. I took upon myself a vow that I will not take my breakfast unless I finish reading one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Not for a Krishna or Arjuna. I had no clue about Arjuna Krishna at that point in time. But as a homage to my grandfather. And while reading this again and again and again for more than 2 years, it occurred to me, if there is any truth in Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Bharata, then Krishna must be born somewhere in some place, maybe in different form, because the situation in our country, in the world, all over, demanded his immediate intervention. This was a very childish thought at the back of my mind, but it had a profound effect on my spiritual upbringing. And Swami, in his wisdom, thought that I needed His blessings, His presence. He found me during that period when a friend of mine took me to house of a devotee who claimed that Vibhuti was appearing from framed photograph from inside the glass of Satyasava. The moment I heard Baba, the word Baba, I said, Uncle, I'm a science student, please. He as if challenged me. If you claim to be a scientific person with scientific temperament, how could you refuse to witness something which you have never heard of before and reject it without witnessing it? That was a great challenge. So I went with him, and as I entered the house of the gentleman, he took me to his small mandir where the Swami's photograph was there, framed one, which Swami had materialized, he told me, for him. And inside the glass there were inches of vibhuti. But the miracle was not the vibhuti inside the glass. For me, the miracle was what he claimed to be Satya Sai Baba. I saw my Krishna, the same picture which was on my book, which I used to read every day, Bhagavad Gita. And I shouted, I said, Uncle, what are you telling? This is Krishna, my Krishna. So that fear of unknown vanished in one moment. And when he gave me, he said, no, this is Satya Sai Baba. So he gave the frame, the photograph in my hands. And then I saw, yes, this was Satya Sai Baba. And that very night, Swami appeared in my dream. Come to Puttaparthi. Come to Puttaparthi. And my journey began. And from that first darshan, when he appeared from the balcony, my dear brothers and sisters, on the very first day, I saw a big bright halo around Swami. This was love at first sight. Swami came to balcony because there was floods in Puttaparthi, and Swami did like this 3 times, and the entire flood water receded like this, like we see in movies. And then he came down to feed the cows in the West Prashanti one. I ran and dashed against him like this. He took me by my hands. Bolo kya? Bolo kya? I said, Swami, nothing. I love you. I was 21. And then next year, when I came back alone, I was sitting alone, sleeping alone in my room, the South Prashanti C15. He gave me a dream where I was vomiting eggs. Unthinkable. And the dream was so strong that I got up from the sleep with a jerk to make sure that I had not vomited. And then I had this thought, maybe Swami wants me to leave non-veg. In our family, we never knew the names of vegetables. And now this was a great challenge, how to survive in the hostel, how to survive at home without taking non-veg food. First, inner view, Swami's voice. When I said, it's okay, Swami, if you want me to leave eggs, I will leave eggs from this day. Because I wanted to get rid of this dream and sleep peacefully. My immediate target was that. But this God is, you can't take him for granted. Immediately he gave his message. You want to leave eggs and keep eating chickens. And then there was a deal made. I had to separate myself, my mind from myself, and make a deal with my mind that I would leave entire variety of knowledge for 1 year. But my mind put this condition, and which I agreed upon, and I prayed to Swami to fulfill at least this small desire. And the prayer was that, Swami, if it is really your command, your desire that I should leave non-veg, then to gain that confidence and to fight it out, because I know my father will tell me to get lost. So simple. Leave the home. And I will not be able to survive even in hostel, because I don't know how to, the smell of food, vegetables was unthinkable for me at that point in time. I said, Swami, if you really believe that, if you really mean that, please tomorrow, just give me 1 minute interview. You may not mention all this. I want to have joy of that 1 minute interview. 9th of January 1975. Early morning, sitting for Darshan. I saw people writing something. So I asked them, what is all there? They said, we are writing letters. If Swami takes the letter, that means problem is solved. So I had no problems, no issues, nothing. It was total love. That's it. And my love was so intense from day one. I'm a born lover. I love intensely. I don't do lukewarm things. So I borrowed a paper from somebody and a pen from somebody and wrote my first letter to Swami. And my opening sentence was, I didn't know the language of Baba and Swami and all that. So I said, my dear father, I know that you know everything. But I want to have joy of speaking to you for 1 minute. If you could please grant me to be, I'll be very happy. And the last sentence, very small letter, postscript I wrote, Swami, aim of my life is to love all and serve all. That point in time, I did not know this love all and serve all is our organization, nothing. 73, 74, right? And it just came. I didn't even know the depth of the meaning of love all and serve all. Now I know it. But I wrote, I'm thankful to Swami, he gave me that wisdom. And I put the letter in my pocket. Swami comes, there was no music those days, nothing. Swami went around the lady's side and then he started coming towards the side. Just maybe 100 feet away. I opened my button of my pocket to bring the letter out and be ready. I was in third row. Immediately his voice again. Now I recognized his voice. You are writing that I know everything. Then where is the need to give me this letter? I said, we can't play any games with this God. I put the letter back and buttoned it. I said, now Swami, I'm not going to give you this letter at least. Of course, afterwards, I think if there is any counting, I would break all the records. I give maximum letters to Swami. But on that day, I decided, not this letter. Swami came, he crossed me, I just sat like this. 2 steps forward, turn back, go. My first interview was 1-to-1. Afterwards, I came to know it was rarest of the rare blessings, because Swami normally does not give interviews to any devotees, a single person, either a family or group or a staff or maybe VIP, but not any ordinary. Even now it was like that. But Swami called me 1-to-1 alone. Of course, there were a few more people. He spoke to everybody. And then he took me behind the curtain. That again was the rare blessing. And then he came so close to me. This is the point I wanted to make. His entire body merged into my body. I mean every word of it. His big, thick hair were touching my cheeks. His entire body merged and there was no space for even air to move between me and Swami. But the miracle was I was not feeling the physical touch a bit. That is the proof I got from that first interview that this body, afterwards in 1991, I was doing his Padaseva in Kodaikanal. Swami materialized a diamond, 92. I was the only person allowed to do his Padaseva, who was neither his devotee nor staff nor student, neither his staff or student. Every day in his Kodaikanal, Swami's house, every evening, all 30 days for 3 years, 91, 92, 93. Once even the boys, naturally, they wanted to request me, sir, only students are allowed. So I was doing Swami's Padaseva and Swami was giving his divine discourse. And this boy tells me, sir, only students are allowed. This was my second day. First day I did it. So second day, maybe they formed some thing to tell me. I said, fine. So I tried to remove my hand from Swami's undergarment. Swami immediately gives such a strong look to that boy. He said, sir, you please continue. Every day I was doing his Padaseva. And while doing Padaseva, Swami was giving a discourse. He was telling a story about one Tamil saint who prayed to Lord Vishnu. He wanted to perform marriage of Mother Rukmani. So Lord gave him one diamond. While narrating this incident, I have written down everything in my diary details. I don't remember the name of the saint. And Swami said thousands of years before. Swami just indicated, so we understood that Swami is going to materialize. So we had to remove our hands from his body because probably big currents pass through his body when he's materializing something very big. So we slowly took off our hands. Swami stood halfway like this, and I was sitting right here. I saw directly, I was just few inches away. He did like this and materialized a blue diamond. This length, this breadth, this thickness. And then Swami started showing to everybody. All were there. But when he showed to everybody and brought it back like this, I saw live Satya Sai Baba inside the diamond. Not the picture, live. And the live Satya Sai Baba of the 50th birthday. The famous Swami wore, somebody presented a shawl to Swami with Om or something, yellow color shawl. That photograph is Abhyasta live. And I shouted. I said, Swami, you are telling this diamond is thousands of years old, but I can see your form inside this. I shouted. Swami looked at me and said, in English, what do you think? Even this form is immortal. We have heard Atma is immortal, God is immortal, everything, we know it. But body, this form, even Rama, Krishna, anyone. Swami declared this form is immortal. And when I came back to Puttaparthi, I went to Dr. Bhagwat. He was a sage. He was state president of Maharashtra. Swami stayed in a house for 7 days. When I went to ask him, sir, what is the meaning of this? Swami is declared like this. He said, Harish, look at this. I'm reading the scripture in Marathi, and you have come in this point in time. Just look at this page. You know Marathi. I said, sir, I can understand a bit, but please translate for me. He said, it is mentioned, I was reading this and you have entered my room. in round building R3 in Prashanti Nilayam. It is mentioned that divine beings can materialize and dematerialize their bodies whenever they want. This actually helped me to fight with him when he so-called went into Samadhi 2011. I saw his body. I was sitting there 3 days and nights. I knew this is not so. A faithful wife, a faithful dog, faithful servant. They understand the body language of their master. And being from film industry, I knew this is not Swami's body. Whatever else it may be. And I came to know from very authentic government officials from Raj Bhavan, from governor's office, that nobody saw Swami's body. So I really literally cried and fought with him in my room on my birthday, 28th of January 2012. My wife had gone for her duties, my son had gone for his work. I was alone listening to his song. I said, Swami, you can't do this. Your every promise, every declaration is recorded. We don't know, we don't have any recording of Rama, Krishna, Christ, Buddha, no one. We are in the scriptures, we believe them, but there is no record. But your every declaration, every promise is recorded. And if you go without fulfilling your promises, I challenge him. I cried and I cried. I said, Swami. And he had promised me in one of my interviews that I will be with him in this birth and next birth, and he will not count on my karma. He had promised me. I have mentioned actually all these instances, experiences I have mentioned. The last 3 months, Swami has prompted me to record videos. More than 100 videos he is chasing me actually every morning, get up and record. They are on the YouTube in Hindi and English. That's Sai Haresh Thakur or Prema Katha Raswani. Anybody can find it. More than 100, 150 videos are on YouTube. I mentioned everything in detail, but let me give you the gist of it. I said, Swami, you can't do this. You have promised me we'll be together. If I am alive, you have to be here. And I know your form is immortal, you yourself has done. And I know in the interview when you merged your body with my body, I know this is not a physical body, this is a light body. So now you please, wherever you are, you have to appear. And he appeared. Again, his light form. My birthday, 28th of January 2012. Now I played my game very smartly with him. I've done it before with him. I know with his grace. I love him so much, I never fear him. I even once told him, Swami, आपने दुनिया बनाई लेकिन आपको दुनिया चलाना बिल्कुल नहीं आता. He was laughing. I said, Swami, you have to. He said, I'm not. This is part of my drama. I'm coming back. I said, not coming back in some different form and then telling me, I came as this, I came as that person, I came as dog. We want you to be same 5 feet 3 inch, beautiful curly hair, God, not on wheelchair. You have shown me a immortal form of 50th birthday, that young running Swami, that form. He said, yes, I okay. I said, fine. Because twice he has told me during when he called me, my wife, and my mother for interview after my marriage. Every time he will come to Dharma Kshetra and he will chase me. Hey, where is your son? I said, Swami, no son. I was just 23 and he selected my wife for me. I never knew her before. I said, Swami, no son. Every time in front of everybody, giving every partner was that, hey, where is your son? I became a laughing stock. And then he called me for an interview. My mother, me, and my wife. Where is your son? I said, Swami, there is no son. Son is in the home of mother. Then he turns to my wife. बोलो अम्मा क्या लड़का मांगता है कि लड़की? He is giving her option. She being devoted, she is better devoted than every respect. Swami जो भी answer. He goes 3 inches away from her womb. I on one side, my mother on another side, and Swami did like this with a heavy jump, and he thundered in English. Conception starts from this moment. First boy, next daughter. Very good spiritual son. Swami will come to your house to keep his name. Then he looked up the ceiling and said, no. First you bring him here. Next I will come to your house. I did not understand this next I will come to. I thought next means maybe next year. And then he said, Divine Mother will come to you 3 times for my daughter. And once in Dharmashetra, I invited him. I was chairman of Sri Satyasai Organization, District Thane, Ulhasnagar. I just invited him, Swami, please come to Ulhasnagar. Next time, Mumbai आता हूँ मैं, तुम्हारे घर में आता हूँ. Again, this next time. So I knew this next time has some meaning. So I got this clue that there is going to be some next time. And then he said, I will come next year on your birthday. I asked his permission. So, shall I share this with everybody? Because people are crying for you. Yes, that is the purpose I'm telling you. You can share with everybody. Because if I appear suddenly, many will die of shock. They will not be, they will go mad. You have to prepare them psychologically. And I will fulfill each and every promise given to each one of you individually and collectively. Because I remember his declaration on my fingertips. I will move in the sky. I will. All R.K. Karangia interviews, 1968, First World Conference declarations. I used to read his books in my engineering college more than my engineering books. He has promised. And he did appear in my vision on my birthday again, 2030, to show me where he is. And he said, I will call you and many of my beloved devotees to me. And then you will go and tell everybody, I will come at the right time and I will fulfill all the promises. Now coming back to the first interview. I asked for 1 minute interview. He gave me exact 60 seconds, 1 minute interview. And what he said, he did not mention any of my so-called modern habits. We were innocent. We never had any clue, good, bad, nothing. Because film industry, it was normal for us to go to premieres with Raj Kapoor, Emma Malini's dance and drink. It was very normal. They used to come to our house. We never felt any guilt or bad about it. But this God did not even mention anything of that. His opening sentence was, Vahan Komal Nirmal Hriday. Very compassionate and delicate one. लेकिन तुम बहुत डीप सोचता है, यू थिंक वेरी डीपली, इसलिए कभी कभी हेडेक होता है। ऐसे यस स्वामी, बहुत हेडेक होता है। आज के बाद तुम कुछ नहीं सोचेगा, यू विल नॉट वरी अबाउट एनीथिंग फ्रॉम दिस मोमेंट, सब स्वामी के चरणों में अर्पण कर दो। डिड लाइक दिस, आई विल टेक केयर। दिस इज लव ऑफ गॉड, दिस इज द पर्पस ऑफ हिज क्रिएशन। The humanity today has forgotten to love. People are asking me when they watch my videos, sir, how to love? Please teach us to love. It is like fish asking how to swim. We are all embodiments of love. Love is our nature. We are Divya Atma Sarup Lovers. But we have forgotten to love. We have forgotten our true identity because the modern life, the modern education has programmed our minds in such fashion for such long times that now we believe only in Aadhaar card, identity card. We have forgotten our true identity. That is why in one of the talks, Swami prompted me to mention that like when we don't have our own money to do business, we borrow money, isn't it? From bank, from institutions, from the private lenders. Many of us complain this, that we are not able to love and our love is not as effective because after listening to my videos, I have, with his grace, with his love, cured many people just without giving any medicine, transformed many situations into situations, transformed hardcore criminals into good persons without uttering a word, just by transmitting his love. You cannot give what you do not have. First, you must have love to give love. And our love, if at all we call it love, they are so contaminated, so polluted, so self-centered, narrow, like we all are living with that frog in the well mentality. We think we give too much importance to our own selves, overestimate our little achievements, our little degrees, our little knowledge, our little wisdoms, even our little devotions. We overestimate our little successes. We overestimate and feel so important and become so sensitive that I'm shocked that my wife was working in super species once told me that if a senior passes, Madam Senior passes, if you don't say Sairam to her, just if you are busy in your work and don't say Sairam to the superior, they feel offended. Because we have become so self-conscious, so possessive of our positions, our authorities, our belongings, our earnings, our bank balance, that we do not know how to live, how to give, how to love, and how to forgive. We can't forgive our own selves. We have reached such stage that forgiving others is out of question. But we are not able to forgive our own selves. Man's extremity is God's opportunity. That is why the love has incarnated. Anytime we want to love, begin loving first your own selves with His love, not our love. Bring His love. Swami, I love you. Please love me, Swami. I love you. Please love me, Swami. Sing His glory, one bhajan every day for Him. Love Him. Keep connected to His love. He is the source of love. Today's our education system has produced well-informed, well-talented persons all over the world. We are actually not educated. I call it educated fools. I'm also one of them. Because education is Pragyanam Brahma, awareness is God. Unless we get the awareness, all education is of no use, it's only information. We all are well informed, well talented, well trained, like animals. That is what our education gives us. But awareness can come only from the light of love, light of God. Love is light of God. Unless we develop love, that is why every discourse on Swami, people used to ask Swami, we have this Swami only speak about only love, love, love. Swami said, what else can I speak about? Once you have love with you, if you can love sufficiently enough, intensely enough, selflessly enough, and universally enough, you could be the most powerful person in the entire world. That is the power of love. We have love for power, but we do not know the power of love. I have done experiments with his love, not my love. His love. Without exception, 101% results instantly. Once during All India conference in Purnachandra Hall, one lady asked, Mr. Indula Shah asked the participants to ask any doubts. Swami was sitting behind the curtain in the Purnachandra. So one lady, a great devotee from Maharashtra, Mumbai, she said that we have been conducting Madhvikas for so long, it's so much of love, but these children don't listen to us. Try as we Swami says, love and continue to love, but unless we shout at them, get angry with them, punish them, they won't listen. She was a qualified teacher, B.Ed, and a Madhvikas guru. As soon as she was narrating this doubt, Swami appeared from behind the curtain in his divine mood, as if he did not hear what she was saying. And he appeared, and in his discourse, he mentioned this. He said, you are coming to Swami for so many years, knowing that Swami is God, believing that Swami is God, telling everybody that Swami is God, but still you have not been able to follow Swami's teachings in your day-to-day life. Then how do you expect these small children who have no clue about Swami, no clue about even you? How do you expect these children coming from slums to your Balikas to listen to you and follow your instructions? Do you follow Swami? Love and continue to love till all is well. And be sure all shall be well. But as I mentioned, today the humanity has forgotten to love. We have lost the contact with the source. And this Lord, out of mercy, has come down. He himself has connected himself with each one of us individually. The universal God has become our personal God for each one of us. He is ready. He says, I am ready to give. But are you ready to take? Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. That is why I often say, wait, wait, wait. We are not ready to take even one small baby step towards Him. Love Him intensely. Lukewarm things will not do. When you love somebody, you must love whole. This is the only entity, my dear brothers and sisters. In today's world, you can't love any relationship, any friendship unreservedly. This is the only entity. Fearlessly, you can love him wholeheartedly and see the magic, the miracle happening every moment of our lives. Many people ask me, Harish bhai, you have so many miracles, so many experiences. Why can't we have that? Simple. The intensity. Ishq. We lovers of God. No need to be devotee of God or servant of God. All things are ego, dangerous things. Who's greater devotee? Who's better servant? Be a lover of God. And love of God should be like Shabri, like Meera. The enlightened love, the enlightened faith. The faith, the love that never questions, never doubts. What experience Shabri had of Rama, to believe that Rama would one day come and pass through a hermitage and eat fruits from her hands. She had no evidence, no experience, no Google, nothing. She had never seen or met Rama, never heard his discourse, nothing. She believed in the word of her Guru. And did she question, will he really come? When will he come? Is it possible that Prince of Ayodhya will come to, why will he come to forest? Is there any logic, any reason in that? I told one Swami, these people scientific, he said, God, do they eat scientifically? Do they drink scientifically? Do they breathe scientifically? Do they conduct themselves scientifically in their day-to-day life? Do they take care of their body? They believe their body is okay. Panchiri. Do they take care of their body scientifically? All their science, their logic, their rational knowledge, arguments, everything comes in forefront only when talk about God. Otherwise, 24/7, they are living absolutely unscientific, illogical life. What knowledge Shabri had? What education did she have? A Buddha, a Christ, a Paramahansa. They may not know more than you. They may not have more than you. But they are more than you. Our entire life is lost in dreaming. Our entire being is lost in becoming. And we call this progress. Did Prahlada ask for any proof, any evidence? Did he even see from the hilltop whether Narayana is actually there to catch him and hold him? If Narayana had appeared with his forearms, then anybody would, any Tom, Dick and Harry would fall, even for fun's sake, they will fall from the rooftop, from the hilltop, because there is somebody ready to hold them in four hands. That is why I love my uncertainty, my unpredictability. That is the sign of our devotion. Can we love his uncertainty? Why we want any guarantee from God? We want so many guarantees from God. God is telling you, take one step. I'll tell you a funny incident. I'm from Sindhi community. Once I went to attend some marriage of my own brother-in-law in Gujarat, Sindhi. All non-devotees, but I put a condition: if there is bhajan, then alone I will come, otherwise I'm not coming. So after bhajans, my wife requested me to give a talk. There was a Sindhi gentleman. He said, Harish bhai, I heard from your talk that your God says you take one step, I will take 100 steps. Now my question is, if you are sure that your God is ready to take 100 steps by my taking one step towards him, then he should take 100 minus 199 steps. Why he has to wait for my one step? His Sindhi brain calculating mind. That is why we cannot love, because our minds have become so calculative, so competitive. Lover's mind can never be calculating mind. Lovers are givers and forgivers. So calculating minds cannot love. That is the whole difficulty. So he asked this question. Now this was very strange but very valid question. Immediately I got connected with Swami, and Swami said, with God there is no plus and minus. With God it is multiplication and division. If you take 0 steps, even if God takes 1 billion steps towards you, your 0 steps multiplied by his billion steps will become 0. That is why the merciful Lord says, you take at least 1 baby step. Baby step means half a step. So that half step multiplied by his 100 or 1 million or 1 billion steps will at least get you half the grace. Let us all take that 1 baby step, because that is our proving to him that we actually need him. It is very easy to give lip service. But this God, nobody can, I have repeated again and again, nobody can outsmart this God. He used to tell students also, don't play musical chair with me. You can't outsmart this God. Nowadays, we have to be very honest, very sincere with him in love, pure love. Once some students bought a beautiful Kashmir carpet for Swami, because they wanted to express their gratitude to Swami after coming back from Kodaikanal. Swami had done so much for them, they thought they should offer some gratitude to Swami. So they went without telling anyone. They got one beautiful carpet and prayed. And Swami called them, and they all came, and hidingly they were keeping their carpet behind them. Swami, of course, knew. They said, hey, what's that? You are hiding. So they all, because they were afraid, Swami may not like it, he may get angry of this. But still they wanted to express their gratitude, their love for Swami. So they put the carpet at his lotus feet, and all together, Swami, please, Swami. This is just our token of love and gratitude, Swami, please, Swami, please, Swami. Manjari, but tell me, why token of love? Why not only love? We believe in tokenism. God wants pure love. This God wants pure love from each one of us. That is the purpose of his creation. That is the purpose of his mission. I have come to light the lamp of love in each human heart. And I have come to raise human mind to the next level of awareness. No avatar has done this before. No lesser authority can even declare this. He is that universal cosmic authority. Please don't underestimate it. We may sometimes, out of our foolishness, overestimate our achievements. Okay, but don't underestimate or ignore this one. He is never gone. He is immortal, and he is coming back very soon. Jai Sai Ram. We should be very practical on this, but if you are asking with all sincerity, I believe, then you must follow the prescription, because Swami has made me a doctor. So I give you straight away, start singing his bhajan every day only for him, keeping him in your mind. No ritualism, nothing. He is not interested in our whether we have taken bath or we have put flowers, nothing. As I said, he doesn't believe in tokenism. Close your doors, be one-to-one with him in your heart. On day one, don't expect any response at physical plane. But I tell you, he has assured one devotee, Mr. L. Thakur from US, who worked as Swami's lecturer. He was a person who was in the team of people who created atomic bomb. and he lost his way in Mexico, and Swami brought him to life. So he asked Swami, Swami, we all remember you with love, but do you also remember us sometimes? And Swami's revelation was universal. Swami declared, whenever and wherever you remember me with love, be sure that very moment I too remember you with my love. This is the assurance this Lord has given. And he has given proof of that in one of the talks. You can watch on videos, or I will narrate whenever given opportunity, that actually not one, but there are 2-3 instances where Swami just remembering him in any situation changes the situation into situation. Instantly, just with that intensity, without lovers are not beggars. We don't need to beg anything from God. He has written a letter to students that what is there in the universe that you can ever desire for? There is absolutely nothing in the entire universe worth getting attracted about, impressed about, afraid about. Take only God seriously in your life. We do exactly the opposite. We take everything seriously in our life except God. Let us be honest. Even we go to buy a kerchief, buy a blouse piece, buy a button for our shirt or anything. We want matching, we want proper shade, we want contrast, everything we take care. But when it comes to God, we take him so casually. With this God, you have to be very serious, very intense. Never take him for granted. None of us should do this mistake, to take him for granted. And his presence, unmissable presence, unmistakable presence. He is always around us. He is watching us. And he is not only a watchman and also a catchman. So we have to be very honest in loving him. And when we love him, actually we love our own selves, our own highest self. Can we actually love like this to our own body self, our own mind self, our own spiritual self every day? Because there's so much negativity in us, not in this birth, for many births, and not of our fault. God does not find fault with us. He doesn't blame us for anything. It is his game after all. We are his performers. He is the divine director. The script, the story, the dialogue, the entry, the exit, the costume, the camera, even our co-stars, their action and their reaction, everything is decided, scripted and directed by him. But perform we must. So we have to be just keep connected to him to give him our best performance only to please him, no one else. Love him intensely, wholeheartedly. The more you love him, the more love you get from him. Ever flowing and overflowing love. Then miracles will happen automatically. You don't have to work on that. That is natural. Love is the only power. Love is the only way. Believe me, there is no other power. There is no other way. This doubt comes to everyone's mind because our mind is created by, he is the mind master maker of our mind. He can make, unmake and remake our minds. We can't fight. Swami says, don't try to even control your mind. It is as futile as trying to control the waves of the ocean. It is nature of the mind. It will play its game. Ignore your mind. The more you think of your mind, more strength we give to our minds. Ignore it. Let it play its game. It's, Swami says, a monkey mind. It will jump from one thought to another thought. Sometimes it will give such funny desires. You will not, as you rightly said, initially you may get confused whether it is from my ego or from my Swami. What should I do? There are many ways that we have to, actually speaking, my experience, once you start loving him, his voice, his directions become so clear, you just can't mistake it. As I said, a faithful wife, a faithful servant, a faithful dog, they understand the body language of their master. You will have that sixth sense, you will develop that sixth sense to know okay, this is from Swami. Without fail, there will be no mistake on that. But initially, many devotees, till they reach that stage, it depends upon any individual, they put some slips in front of Swami. But I feel everything can go wrong except your own heart. Think from here, not from here. We have forgotten to think from here. Yes, in day to day, our business, our life, we must think from here. But as far as devotion to God is concerned, we should think, start learning to think from here. This will never deceive you. This will never lie to you. This will not play any double game with you. Install him in your heart, sing one bhajan for him, and sit for his enlightenment. His love will enlighten you. You will never go wrong. Even if by mistake, sometimes you may feel that you have gone wrong, take it as his ways. Because let me finish with this Panch Mahavakyas that Swami has given. We must remember these Panch Mahavakyas of Swami when we want to deal with this divinity. He himself has given. We have no precedent to know how to deal with God. So he himself, out of mercy, has given these Panch Mahavakyas. The first one, whatever I do or omit to do is for good of all. Whatever I do or omit to do is good for you and for good of all. Second one, nothing can ever happen without my intent will. Third one, trust in my wisdom. My wisdom means my timings. God is never in hurry, but he is always on time. Most of us have Shraddha, but we lack Saburi. We want quick results. But God sometimes waits. When you wait on him, he works on you. And if required, he even works for you. If you are watching my videos, you must have come across many experiences which I have given. It is called waiting therapy. So waiting has got patience is all the power a man can ever need. We all have Shraddha, but most of us don't have that patience, the saburi. So the third is trust in my wisdom, that is trust in my timings. Fourth one is I do not make mistakes. Do not want to understand, do not try to understand. That is the test of our trust in him. Swami gave me one beautiful poem. I will just give 2 lines on that. Very big poem he gave. Agony of God. We all complain to God, give our sorrows, but God has also his agony. He has said in the poem which he has given me 1008 poems, and each and every poem he has taken from me with his hands by pressing my hand during darshan time, morning and evening, for 4 years, till these security issues came up. We used to take writing pen and pad. The moment I sit for darshan, he'll give me a poem. I will not know. I'm a science student. I don't know any literatures. I never read any poems in my life. And then he gives me poems and takes that poem. He has given me one poem on his own divine body, beautiful one, which he read in Kodaikanal, and he loved and loved and loved. So in that agony of Lord, he says, you call me master, but obey me not.
So nice.
You call me beloved,
But love me
but
not.
love me not. A very beautiful long poem. I'll share one day. So we have to trust in his wisdom, and we must know that the gods in the heavens may make mistakes, but this 5 feet 3 inch God will never make a mistake. He told my son in an interview, 13th of January 1993. I was sitting outside for Darshan. He called my son. He was in 7th class. He was form boy with Swami, as we call them. How many birthdays he celebrated, how many kerchiefs, how many coconut aartis, how many interviews he got, uncountable. So Swami called him for interview with a group of other boys, and Swami suddenly says, hey, where is your father? He said, Swami, you are my father. This is the normal answer which primary school children give. Swami said, hey, I'm asking about your physical father. He said, Swami, you are my physical father too. Because my son knew that he was conceived inside the interview room with Swami's finger moving and his thundering. The conception starts from this moment. So with confidence, he said, Swami, you are my physical father. Then Swami said, hey, I know your father is sitting outside. He is a doctor. Then my son came to senses. He said, no, Swami, he is a civil engineer. No, I know him. He is a doctor. When my son came out of the darshan, I saw him going inside the interview room and coming out. Then Swami comes out from the interview room, holding my son by his cheeks. He is introducing himself to all the VIPs sitting there, telling them, look at this boy. His father is a doctor. Now, everybody knew me personally that I am a civil engineer. I was to construct the central library. Everyone, Dr. Sapaya, everyone, they were my personal friends. And Swami declares in front of everybody, look at this boy. His father is a doctor. His mother is serving in my hospital. And his grandmother also is here. Very noble family. Now, everybody thought that Swami is mistaking me to be my elder brother, Dr. Prem, who looks like me and who has served in Swami's hospital and general hospital. So my son, when he came out after darshan, I chased him near Ganesha because they would boys run to their school. So while going from there, I threw, hey, what happened? Swami was talking to you for so long. He said, nothing, father, today Swami mistook you to be my uncle, Dr. Prem Chachu. He said, your father is a doctor. And my son went to his school. But I could not sleep the whole night. If Swami has told me that I am a doctor, so I have to be a doctor. I was 40. You can imagine. A civil engineer, know nothing about medicines. Absolute nothing. Next day, my wife suggested maybe Swami is making a joke. He cannot make a mistake, but he can make a joke. I said, yeah, that can happen. So I'll confirm with him. Next day, I'm sitting for darshan. Swami comes. Those days, Swami used to throw chocolates. I stand on my knees. Swami takes somebody's chocolates, throws it like this, and I ask Swami, Swami, you want me to become a doctor? I wanted him to say, forget it. And what he said, you are a doctor. You will become doctor to doctors. Do homeopathy. And one chocolate fell on my head. I did not know the spelling of homeopathy. But I believed in his word. Sitting in Puttaparthi, in 1 month, he made me a doctor. Swami invited Dr. George Whittle-Cross from Greece to train me. He is #1 homeopath in the entire world. Incidentally, he is also a civil engineer. In 1 month, I started practicing homeopathy. And true to his word, most of the doctors visiting Swami, most of the doctors, including Dr. Sapaya, his family, in the ashram, they became my patients. that is believing in His word. This God will never commit a mistake. And the fifth, the final one, the most important, learn to love my uncertainty, my unpredictability. Because that gives us the confidence in our own faith. There was a joke in Reader Digest I read in Jahan College when I was doing my inter-science there, 1970s. One man was going for trekking in the mountains and he lost his balance and he started falling down. And while falling down, he caught hold of one hanging tree and he started swinging. He was all alone. He lost his way and he knew that he's going to die. So when you are sure that you're going to die, you remember God. So he started shouting, "Oh, anyone, please help me, please help me." And there was a voice. "Don't worry. I'm here. Just leave the branch, I will catch you." The voice was very clear. He knew. "Who are you?" "I'm God." The voice even claimed that I'm God. I'm telling you, leave the branch, I will catch you. The man looked down, he saw no one. And he again shouted, "Is there anyone else, please?" We want God to be there, visible to us. We want to verify, take guarantee from God. If God is always available like that, then where is the question of having faith in God? Faith is believing in something which you have not seen. And the reward of faith is to see what you actually believed in. That is living faith in God. When we don't live our own faith, our faith becomes a dead faith. And dead cannot deliver. That is the key. Live your faith and see the miracles happen. Jai Sai Ram.